Guys, it's Lara here with another Witchy Wednesday, this time for the week of October 4th, 2017. So you might notice I'm trying to do something a little bit different with the video here. I would like these videos to show up horizontally so that they don't have, the blank space beside them when you watch on YouTube. And I'm a newbie at this, right? So I'm experimenting here, and in order to turn to have them horizontal, I have to turn the phone camera sideways, horizontal, and that means I can't look at myself, which I normally do when I'm doing these videos. It just seems a little more natural, and it allows me to establish eye contact a little more naturally. This way I have to look at the little dot, for the phone camera, and it feels a little bit strange to me. And so I'm hoping that, it translates to making eye contact. I'm being totally transparent here about this process. I've tried it a few times, not 100% comfortable, but well, here goes anyways, right? Also, I've done more than a couple of takes for this video, which seems to be happening the last few times. I think there's a few reasons for that, partly because there's so much I want to talk about, and but at the same time I don't want these videos to be hours long. So I'm trying to narrow down what's important, and I really have to keep reminding myself to focus on the card that came up for us. And in this situation, it's so important. It's a really, really powerful message this week, and one that I've been wanting to actually speak to for quite a while. But, today's the day, because the card that came up really sort of gave me the message that, this is what this is about, and this is what you need to talk about, and this is the message that needs to come through. So that's what I'm going to do. And just before I do that, I want to mention to you that, of course, if you want to get a personal reading with me or a session, which is a little more in-depth than a reading, then you can do that by going to the services page of my website. There's a link below here on YouTube, and you can check out what I offer. You can connect with me via email there and ask any questions that you might have. And also, if you're in the Sudbury area, I'm doing an in-person workshop called Practical Magic for Moving Through Fear, Anxiety, and Panic. And that's on October 21st. It's a Saturday afternoon, just for 4 hours. I would love for you to be there. There's still some spots available. These are trying times we're living in right now, and I know a lot of people are struggling with these things. I'm speaking from experience. I have struggled with anxiety and debilitating panic, and let fear run my life for far too long. And happy to say that that's all in the past for me now, and I want to help you get there too. It is possible. So if you want to join me on the 21st, I'd love to have you. You can check that out on the services page as well, and that's under the in-person workshops tab. So getting to the card that turned up for us today. It is the Karma card, and this is from the Witch's Tarot deck by Ellen Dugan. And the Karma card in this deck is related to the Justice card in the Rider-Waite traditional tarot deck. So here's what I want to say. There's a lot going on in the world right now, right? No secret. So, and I don't need to go through the list of terrible things that have been transpiring in the world. You know what's going on. And I don't want to minimize this in any way. There's a lot of people in a lot of despair right now. And we need to come together to help each other out here. The message really is the universe is shaking us to awaken us, right? It's time to wake up, people, like on a massive collective level, right? And this is happening, and it has been happening. If you're somebody like me who's sort of been on this quote unquote spiritual path for quite a long time, for a couple decades now, then you know that this has been coming for a long, long time. If you're somebody that's new to it, then rest assured, you know, this is the direction we've been headed, and it's not really a major shock. Um, I mean, you know, it's shocking on many levels, but it's not necessarily something that we shouldn't have been expecting, right? On the route that we've been on. So both collectively and individually in our lives right now, we may be wanting to consider sort of, you know, our past choices and how they've led us to where we are right now. You know, our choices shape our destiny, and that's what this is all about. So rest assured that, you know, the choices that you've made in the past are you know, those choices have led you to where you are right now in this moment in time. Now, if I wanted to be here for a really long time talking about this and talking about, you know, past lives and that kind of stuff, which, you know, I do believe in. You don't have to, but I do. This is even more complicated than that. But let's just stay with the here and now and this present lifetime, right? Because that's where we're all living right now. We are humans living on planet Earth, and we need to look at it from that perspective. And because that's how we change things. So our choices, our past choices, result in our future. And so the choices that we make today and tomorrow and the next day ultimately will lead us to our future karma, right? Wherever we're going to end up in the future. So that's really powerful stuff, right? And you know, if you're thinking about, if you're somebody who's into the whole notion of, you know, manifestation, and you can create your reality and you can create your future and that kind of thing, this is really what it's all about, right? It's the choices we make and the actions that we take. It's not about sitting here and imagining, you know, something into existence, and it's going to drop into your lap without you having to do anything. And that's not the way it works, unfortunately. But, you know, it's about the choices we make and the actions that we take. And I think that, you know, in definitely our collective world, we're seeing around us the result of a lot of major choices that have been made over time. And collectively, you know, as a human species, we really need to start recognizing that our society, our collective, you know, human society is made up of individuals, right? Like you and me and everyone else. And so we have to make good and sound and loving, self-loving, and you know, mutually loving and compassionate and intelligent and wise and you know, really soul-affirming choices as individuals in our lives, because the individuals make up the collective. And so, you know, it doesn't have to be this big sweeping change that you make. I mean, it could be, or it doesn't have to be, you know, a whole system that changes all at once. Although, you know, that would be welcome, but that happens over time with baby steps, with individuals waking up and making more conscious choices. And so now is the time to really consider where you're at, consider how you'd like to see things change in your own individual life and on a collective scale, and to start shaping, you know, future karma for yourself and for everybody else as a collective. You know, I'm not going to talk too much about the astrology this week we could get quite complicated. I do want to mention that there's a full moon in Aries happening tomorrow. And so Aries is all about, my way, how I want to do it. It's about drive and that warrior energy. And it's about what I want, And so we do have to consider that. What do we want? What do we want our lives to look like? What do we want the future to look like for our kids and our grandkids, and generations to come? What do we want, what do we want for ourselves in the future? And we have to also consider that opposite point of, it's not just about me. It's about me and how I can make self-affirming choices and choices that feel good to me and choices that are in integrity and choices that are speak to who I really am and what I value and how that can have an impact on the whole, and how I can balance my needs and wants and desires with the needs and wants and desires of the other people in my life and, the rest of the world in general. So I hope that message, came through. I'm feeling a little bit passionate about it. Maybe that's the Aries full moon looming. I have a lot of Aries energy in my chart, actually. But I really do want to drive home the point that it's time to wake up. It's time for all of us to stop walking around like zombies, like we have no control. Like the Monday to Friday grind is all there is. That we, the escapism is, that we engage in. Everybody needs a break sometime, but the constant escapism and avoidance of the real sort of issues and our fear of connecting to our own inner truth and our own souls and what we know is the right thing. We need to get over it. We really need to have some courage and embrace that Aries warrior energy for the greater good. Okay, so thanks so much for being here. I so appreciate it. I'd love to know what you think. I'd love for you to subscribe here on YouTube and to share these videos in any format, YouTube, Facebook, what have you. I really appreciate that, and I love your feedback and your comments. And if you want to connect, you know where to find me, okay? All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.